Appreciate everybody being here on a Monday. It is March 14th, and we have a lot of breaking news already this morning. This just came in before we get to the Deshaun Watson talk. This man is visiting with Carolina, New Orleans, and potentially other teams. And then you have Davante Adams refusing to play on the franchise tag. But this news just broke right here. Another QB in the mix in Pittsburgh. The Steelers have reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with Mitchell Trubisky, sources say. The former number 2 overall pick, this is according to Rappaport, former number 2 overall pick, heads to Pittsburgh as the expected starter in place of retired Ben Roethlisberger. So we've got news breaking there in Pittsburgh. You know what? Not a bad move. Better than Jimmy G. Better than Jimmy G, to be quite honest with you. And I think that takes another team off the board for Jimmy G. Less likely this man gets traded because he's going through shoulder surgery and there are other better options, safer options on the board. So Jimmy G's off the table for Pittsburgh. But this other news here, Davante Adams, where's that piece of news? Here we go. Davante Adams has informed the team he will not play on the franchise tag and demands a new contract. And the sources say that they're pretty far apart. It looks like the Packers want to top off his contract, make him the highest paid player or wide receiver in the NFL. But apparently the two sides are still far apart. Adams saying he will not play 2022 on the franchise tag. Now, he can take this all the way up to week 1 if he wants and still get all of his money. So he can drag this out. Will he ultimately sit out the year? I don't think so. Will the Packers ultimately drag this out? I don't think so. I don't know how they find all the money, but they will. They will. I mean, as we talk about on the Quad Box all the time, the cap is fake in a way. You can always work around it, and they're making releases and restructures constantly. They did more today to try and free up money, and I believe they tagged Adams to make sure that they could work on this, right? So maybe he's frustrated because he hasn't gotten his deal yet, but I think the Packers are actively working on locking him down and giving him what he wants to keep him happy, because they brought Aaron Rodgers back. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play football without Davante Adams. This will get done in time. The Packers just need a little more time because they got a lot of money to move around and a lot of penciling out to do. So expect this to resolve itself as we get closer and closer to the draft, really, but to the coming weeks and months that are ahead. This man, Davante Adams, probably won't be holding out in the end. You know, he'll probably get some kind of extension that will make him, technically speaking, the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, even if it's tacking on money to his already existing contract. So Davante Adams will most likely be the top paid wide receiver in the NFL. And this triggers a problem for the 49ers again, because the 49ers have to extend Debo. The longer they wait, the more these big deals keep creeping up. Look at Mike Williams getting $60 million for 3 years. These wide receivers are getting paid bank, and every one that gets paid more and more and more, the price of Debo goes up and up and up. So Davante Adams holding out essentially right now. Don't freak out about it, because this man will probably be on the field in time. He'll probably be extended. Don't worry. They want to keep the number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay happy. They've been battling a bunch of drama with A-Rod. The last thing in the world they want to do is battle a big old issue again out in public, while Aaron Rodgers is trying to settle on what he wants, what he wants financially. And then you got Adams here not getting taken care of. I bet you a lot of why A-Rod came out and said, look, the 4-year, $200 million deal, those terms are not correct, because he wants Adams to get paid. He wants to bring in other free agents. So Aaron Rodgers, who gets all this hate constantly about being dramatic and all about the money, is literally trying to get his team to rebuild in the best way as possible, or to, I guess, stay intact and add new pieces the best way possible. And he's doing so by not taking everything that the Green Bay Packers probably would offer him to stay. So Davante Adams, a potential holdout, but again, I think it's going to work out for him and the Packers and Packer fans. Just hang tight. Free agency frenzy, according to Rappaport, continues. The price of Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson has not changed from previous years. The man's going to cost 3 first-rounders and potentially more. Some assets as well will come over to the team or to the Texans from whatever team's going to be trading for him. So expect to have like a player or two and 3 first-rounders for Deshaun Watson. Now, there are a couple scenarios. I don't know how likely they are at this moment, because it doesn't appear that the Eagles are in the running for Deshaun Watson. However, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't expect things to change. We are in the middle of a smoke season, so we definitely could see a bunch of things kind of like change and information come in, and things we think to know to be true are going to potentially be different than we assume. And I think that there's a real strong shot that teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Eagles, or one of the two, will be very interested in Deshaun Watson, despite reports shooting down the idea that these teams want to bring those players in. So obviously, in Pittsburgh, Trubisky's there, so that's probably a closed door. But I'm just saying, we've heard that these teams aren't interested. I bet you we hear that they were. So in Pittsburgh's case, they maybe were more interested than the report was. Or in the case of Philly, they are currently interested in maybe going after him. My guess is that Deshaun Watson signs or a trade happens before Thursday, or even maybe Wednesday. This could be held up by the Texans, who have to also approve it. Deshaun Watson has a ability to shoot down any of the trades because he has a no trade clause. So he is in control, in a sense, of his own destiny in a way. But Houston could also say, we're not doing this deal, we're not doing that deal. And so Watson it may feel like Watson's got all the power, but he doesn't, because the Texans have proven they'll do whatever they want. And so I think Watson, in my opinion, will act fast once he finds a place he feels is very suitable. I'm not saying he'll rush it and make a bad decision, but I do think he will rush it to a degree to get this chapter closed in his life and behind him, so that he can just focus on football and getting clear to the 20 plus pending civil cases that still are hanging around his neck. But Watson's going to move as quick as he can, and depending on what the Texans do speed-wise, this thing could wrap up really quickly. I think Carolina and the New Orleans Saints are the front runners. Seattle, I think, is still in the mix, but we haven't heard much from that camp lately. But there could be a potential offer on the table we don't know about yet, and we'll find out in a little bit, and then your boy Smitty's gonna have to go live again. But it seems like if I had to map out the pecking order, it would be probably the Saints or Panthers, but I'm feeling Saints right now, and this is smoke season. We don't know what's gonna happen. Saints, Panthers, in that order, Seattle. As of this moment, that could change in literally 4 minutes from now. It literally can. News is coming in constantly, flowing in at different paces and from different reports and different reporters. It's all over the place. Smoke is thick. You can't see through it. You can't sift through it. People are laughable when they come in here and say, you didn't predict that landing spot right. Once one domino falls, it affects all the others. The whole board needs to be wiped again and re-examined. Like Trubisky going to Pittsburgh completely changes everything for Jimmy G and the Niners and what they do. And now where the next quarterback goes is completely altered and potentially adjusted based on Trubisky landing in Pittsburgh. Like, there are certain quarterback types for certain systems, and when one lands one place, that changes the entire board for everybody else. The landscape is completely altered. Trubisky's now in Pittsburgh. What does that mean? What does that mean? This news here, James Conner has been given a 3-year, $21 million deal that could grow to a maximum of $25.5 million and include $13.5 million fully guaranteed. That is quite a bit of money for an aging running back that has some injury risk. but he was fantastic in Arizona last year. And they're trying to keep Kyler Murray happy. They're trying to keep the offense balanced. They're trying to keep and retain as many people as possible to try and replicate the first part of the season that the Cardinals had, which was an unbelievable start to the year, an undefeated beginning of the season. Stayed undefeated more than any team, or longer than any team in the NFL last year. Was the number one team in football for half of a season, and then the Cardinals crumbled. They want to get back to that first half of football, or that first part of the season where they were the undefeated best team in football, and they want to continue to put on the field what they were putting on the field at that point. So Hopkins being healthy is going to be a critical part. Keeping Connor on the field scoring touchdowns, because that man was a touchdown machine last year. This is a good move for the Cardinals. It's expensive, and it may not work out 2 years from now, but for right now, in this moment in time, if it's believed that Kyler can be turned around and get his mind straight, which I'm going to preface every time I talk about Kyler, I want you to hear these words. Kyler's a crybaby right now, Juicebox Kyler, but I'm rooting for him to turn around his mental state. And if he can, I can get excited about him again. I will repeat that every time I talk about Kyler's situation from a negative point of view, which I do, because I'm here to tell you that this man's crying and complaining, writing these letters about potentially not playing unless you give him the money, give him the bag. He's shown no leadership. He refused to go back on the field during the playoff game to snap the final snap with his teammates because he blamed the Cardinals, not himself. And the fact that he's taken down all of his social media, he has since put it back up. There's just been a lot of complaining and crying going on, and telling the Cardinals that he not only is not wanting to sit out or play this year without his contract, but he wants to have it before he walks into his 5th-year option. We've got options to pick up on this man, and we're literally talking about an extension when he showed no leadership. Like, I get it, he's talented, but he needs to step up and realize that if he just was a leader, and if he was not so vocal about the things he's unhappy about, and started trying to make a change and motivate this team, he probably would have got the extension. And if he does, they say, the Cardinals, Keim and Kingsbury, that they're going to pick up his 5th-year option, insinuating that not only are you not getting an extension this offseason, but we're picking up your 5th-year option next year, and then we can tag you the next year. That is insinuating that we may not pay him next year. But I can tell you right now, no matter what we say, Kyler, if you put together a good season full of leadership and production, and even if it doesn't work out, the leadership part, we will probably forget this ever happened and give you an extension. So again, I want to preface every single time I talk about Kyler and how an unraveling could happen to where he has the worst season you can possibly imagine because of this black cloud that he's created over his own head, a self-made toxic environment. If he can turn that around, I will get excited about him again, because he is an ultra talent. He is an unbelievable, physically gifted specimen in the NFL when it comes to running the football and just making exciting plays. He's an unbelievable talent, but he's a poor leader right now. He is not an elite quarterback in this state right now, and he will crumble if he doesn't turn his attitude around right now. If he turns it around and he starts heading in the right direction, he starts repairing this relationship, I will get excited again. I will be confident, more confident in him, and I will look at the Cardinals season as a very optimistic one that could maybe piggyback off the first half that the Cardinals delivered last season, the first half of the year versus the second half of the year. Now, keeping Hopkins healthy will be a big critical part about keeping keeping Kyler efficient. So Hopkins needs to stay healthy, but bringing back Connor was a good addition. As for the Deshaun Watson news, a little bit more on this topic. Deshaun Watson is expected to meet in the next 48 hours with Carolina, the Saints, amongst other teams. Those other teams could be Seattle. Pittsburgh's no longer a thought, even though they were already said to be out. The Trubisky signing, which is right here, might back that up, that they were out. But Trubisky signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So tough to say if the Steelers were truly out, if those reports are correct. Seattle, I think, is definitely probably the next best option for Watson and the most likely, and probably one of the other teams that is reported here. So I think between Seattle, the Saints, and the Carolina Panthers, you're looking at probably his next team. And I think maybe by Wednesday or earlier, Wednesday or Thursday, trade will be announced that he's going to one of those three teams. That's my guess as of this moment. But this is not this is not anything that's concrete whatsoever. So get ready for a whole bunch of madness over the next few days and maybe even hours, because this stuff's not going to die down. Smoke season's just getting going. Watson to the Browns. I mean, anything's possible. Wigman, but or Wigwam, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna prove that. I know Browns fans are very supportive of their team, and I respect that. I love the loyalty, but that doesn't seem like a great place to be. The moment Cooper was traded to the Browns, you didn't see him get excited like A.J. Brown was when he was begging to get Julio Jones into that organization and bring him onto the field next to him. Instead, you see Amari Cooper get traded to the Cleveland Browns, and immediately Landry wants out, because no one wants to be in that wide receiver room. No one wants to be getting thrown footballs from Baker, disappointment maker, and the Browns aren't heading in the right direction right now. They've got a good run game, but will the run game even be effective if they can't move the football down the field? So give me a break. The Browns are not a good landing spot. I don't think Watson would approve that. But hey, wigwam, anything's possible, baby. Anything's possible during smoke season. And a lot of these players don't know what great situations necessarily entail because they're too close to the situation. Think of it, you want a good analogy, think of it like an actor. An actor doesn't really know how good the movie's going to be. You could always talk to an actor. Ask any actor, and they'll tell you. They don't really know if a movie they're acting in is going to be good. They can't see the whole big picture yet. They're in the middle of this big, massive project, and they can't see from the outside what it all looks like. These players sometimes are so focused and embedded in their own situation, they don't know as much what's going on around them. So sometimes they think like Antonio Brown, wanting to get out of Pittsburgh, where he's peppered with targets and treated like a wide receiver god. He wants to go play for another team. They trade him, if you forget, for a minute he was with the Buffalo Bills, and that was the first trade out of Pittsburgh, and he said, I refuse to go. And so they canceled the trade. He didn't want to play with Josh Allen because he didn't know Josh Allen was going to be a stud. He wanted to go to Oakland. He wanted to go to the Raiders. And how did that work out? Yeah, great situation, AB. Great way to break that down. So, these players don't always know what's best for them in terms of landing spot. And it sounds arrogant to say we know more than them about the NFL and talent in the NFL, but this is what I do for a living. So am I going to sit here and say someone knows more than me? No. Why would my channel be any good to you if I literally felt like there were people that did what I do better? Okay? I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds arrogant, but why would I do what I do if I didn't feel like I could do it the best out of anybody? So am I right all the time? No. Am I wrong? It happens, of course. But when I evaluate a situation, I feel like I can pinpoint better than a player that isn't looking at it from the lens that we're looking at what situation would be most ideal for production. And Cleveland would not be a good, productive place for Deshaun Watson to land. He just wouldn't be good there. Not as good as in other locations. Now, is New Orleans a great place? In theory, but I guess riddle me this. If Watson's potentially looking at a suspension, right? I mean, he is. He's not looking at the exempt list anymore. You can't be thrown on the exempt list unless you have a criminal situation brewing or that you're in the middle of, and he doesn't have that anymore. Criminal charges not being brought against Deshaun Watson at this time, assuming there's no other cases that come forward later. But at this moment, he's cleared of that. So he can't be put on the exempt list. However, the league can still suspend him. So let's say he's out for 4 to 6 games. That's possible. I know a lot of people say, he's done it. He's had enough happen to him. Maybe they consider that, but we're still talking about perception. We're still talking about, even though he's cleared of the criminal cases, there are still 22 people that say this happened, this happened, this happened, and sponsors and advertisers, they still have an issue in this day and age with something like that, even if it's an allegation. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but there's still pressures to the NFL, sponsorship, ad revenue, all that stuff. It's all about money, and so they will be pressured to look at the suspension. Let's say he gets suspended 4 to 6 games. What about Alvin Kamara? Alvin Kamara is still looking at a potential suspension as well. This man went into an elevator, and a gentleman was obviously talking some mad crap to him. Granted, okay? Kamara puts his hand on the man's chest to get him out of the elevator. Like, don't come in here. Dude smacks Kamara's hand down. Sure, that's an aggressive move. I get it. But Kamara's pushing him out of an elevator. He smacks Kamara's hand down, and then dude's entourage, and when I say dude, I mean Kamara's entourage jumps the man, and Kamara and the men beat the man. The man falls, what appears to be on video, unconscious, and they continued to kick him, including Kamara, multiple times while the man was down, not moving. Okay? And when Kamara said this was self-defense, that he felt threatened, the video footage backed up the victim, not Kamara. So Kamara's in trouble. We haven't heard about it in a while. We haven't heard about anything relating to it in a while. And because of that, I think people are starting to say, you know what, maybe nothing's going to happen. But that's a big deal. And I think that ultimately he faces some sort of league punishment. Let's call it 4 games. Let's call it 4 games for Kamara, even though it's going to probably be more, in my opinion. But anything can happen. This is smoke season. This is the NFL. We can't predict everything. These are things that are very tough to predict. There's no like rhyme and reason and logic that goes into predicting whether Goodell or the NFL is going to suspend somebody for 4 to 6 games, or something's going to be completely just brushed under the rug. There are ways to argue all those sides and angles. There's no real science to trying to predict this part. But let's say it's 4 games to be safe, okay? Let's say Watson suspended 4 games. Kamara suspended 4 games. Now the New Orleans Saints, what are they doing for the first 4 to 6 games in the season? So when my whole point circling back is New Orleans a great place? I don't know. Who's going to be playing there for this team in weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6? Are they going to start off 0-5, 0-6, 0-4, 1-5? I mean, who knows? And will Mike Thomas even be healthy? We don't know that either, and everybody is assuming Mike Thomas will be healthy for sure, that Mike Thomas is the man. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the thumbs up button if you're in here. Wipe thy feet. Smash and pulverize that subscribe and like button if you're in here. But what do we do if both these guys are out 4 to 6 weeks? And why is everybody assuming Mike Thomas is going to be healthy? Maybe he will be. So New Orleans is tough to analyze. Does it have the makings of being a deep playoff type of football team with Deshaun Watson on it? Abso-freaking-lutely. The New Orleans Saints could be a deep-seeded playoff team with Deshaun Watson. Frankly, any team could be close to being a playoff contender by just adding Deshaun Watson. He's a unique quarterback when on the field because he has the capability of doing more with little than any other quarterback in the NFL. This man has carried the Texans on his back for a long time. He can have mediocre wide receivers and still be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. He's dynamic. Imagine if he gets weapons. If I had to predict what the best landing spot for him is, it's probably Seattle. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh my God, NFC West, Smitty, that's not a great place. How is he going to get in the playoffs? Look, 3 wild card spots get into the playoffs. The Cardinals sent 3 teams from our division of 4 teams into the playoffs. He'll be fine in his mind. He's not worried about competing or working hard or beating out the Cardinals, Niners, Rams, even though that's an extremely tough division. This is a warrior. He's not worried about, oh, I'm scared of a challenge or competition. When you think about it, the reason Watson, yeah, Arizona would be even better, Sonny, but I don't know that Kingsbury's looking at it. Trade Kyler Murray in a first rounder, the number 23 overall, 23, for Deshaun Watson. Watson in a Cardinal uniform is a top 5 team in the NFL. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And the fan base in Arizona wants it. The fan base wants it. We've been asking for Deshaun Watson for Kyler for over a year. We spread a rumor amongst the entire Phoenix Valley saying trade Kyler Murray for Deshaun Watson and do it now. Give up a first rounder. Give up more draft capital if we have to. Do it. Do it. And the Cardinals organization shot it down and said this is a rumor. It's not, there's no truth to it. And the Cardinal fan base was upset in general. Some people love Kyler. A lot of people are mad at Kyler. So the Cardinals would be the best landing spot, to be honest with you. But of the potential landing spots that are currently on the board, Carolina, New Orleans, probably Seattle. Those are the top 3 landing spots now that Pittsburgh is off the table for sure. In Seattle, we don't know if an offer is out there yet. We'll find out if they're one of the other teams that's talked about right here when it says, I think it's right here. Yeah, next 48 hours, he'll meet with Carolina, the New Orleans Saints, amongst other teams per league sources. So I think Seattle's going to probably be one of those sources. We'll find out. Seattle's probably the best landing spot from an output and production standpoint because this man, Deshaun Watson, would have the best wide receiver crew he's ever had, giving him DK and Lockett. Maybe they bring Penny back. Who knows what they do at the running back position. I get that there's some holes there in Seattle, but the bottom line is this man would finally have weapons, and he wouldn't have a risk of having no Mike Thomas, okay, who could maybe be back, maybe not. 72 people in here, only 34 likes. Terry's not happy. Guys, all it takes is one minute second to smash and pulverize that like button for your man Smitty. If I brought you any value at all, just completely annihilate the like button for me. And please subscribe if you're new. Watson to the Browns, again, not happening, Wigwam. I'm sorry, pal. But Seattle would be the best weapons for this man, okay? And I know everyone says they couldn't do it with Russell Wilson. It was the dynamic there was tough. I think Watson would be he would put this team back in a very competitive situation, and they would start to try and make moves around that move. Like right now, they're maybe in blow-up rebuild mode, but if Watson landed on the roster, they might change gears a little bit and go in a different direction. I got this like foot in the background. If you, there you go. We're doing a model last live stream on a foot injury. Okay, so New Orleans, good on paper, risky given Mike Thomas and Alvin Kamara situations. Plain and simple. Carolina, it's a good spot. It's a good spot. Look, DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. Watson would turn him into a potential top 12 wide receiver. Christian McCaffrey's literally, as much as we want to say he's destined to get hurt, right? When he's on the field, he's the number 1 running back in the league. Like, he didn't drop off physically when he was on the field. He still rebounded right to form, but the problem is how many games will he give you? How many games will McCaffrey play? And so if McCaffrey's removed from the board, and don't tell me he's getting traded in the deal, there's no way Watson, who has a no trade clause, will accept a trade to the Carolina Panthers if it included Christian McCaffrey going to the Texans. So stop it. Stop it. It's not going to happen. He would never approve it because Watson gets to approve it. Watson, CMC, DJ Moore, it is a fine trio on paper, but will McCaffrey stay healthy? The moment he goes down, what's left? I think Watson may not see that as clear as we do. I think Watson may not understand it or believe it like we do. Like I said earlier, players are so embedded into the things that they do, and they focus, and they're extra optimistic about certain things. Like if you asked a Watson or anybody how many years Christian McCaffrey has left, they would say 5. You know, an NFL player would say McCaffrey's got 5 years left. A, they want to be positive and get each other's backs, right? But B, they don't see the forest from the trees when it comes to this stuff. They don't understand what we know. And as arrogant as that sounds, we look at this from a certain perspective. Honestly, I believe coaches in the NFL and organizations would be smart to bring in fantasy minds that look at this thing from the angle that we look at it from. We're like in a chopper above, looking at the whole league from a different perspective. The kind of analysis and insight that a good fantasy analyst would bring to the table to a scouting regime or process would be unbelievable, because we look at things ahead. A lot of NFL coaches and NFL staff members and NFL scouts, they look at what it is. An analyst like myself looks at what it could become. And so when I look at a player like Trey Lance, I see what's gonna happen. A lot of coaches see what is there. I see, if you put Trey Lance in week 1, I see what he's gonna be in week 6. Whereas an NFL coach, or sometimes an NFL-based writer or beat writer, will say, well, Trey Lance in week 1 only does this. I'm not about right now. I'm about right now, but also predicting what's going to happen 4 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now. And Watson and other players are going to be like, McCaffrey's the best. He's got 5 years left. But we know he does not. We know that McCaffrey will be hard-pressed to play a full season, let alone 5. And his talents will drop off very quickly. He's on the downswing for sure. But will Watson know that? I don't know. So that's why Watson could choose the Carolina Panthers, because he might see this as a team that has the talent now, not worried about McCaffrey, even though he should be. So Carolina seems like a very good destination. Predicting Mike Thomas isn't going to have any problems. Predicting that Kamara is not going to get suspended, that might also be the way Watson is thinking too. So we don't know what's going on, but given McCaffrey probably won't stay healthy, given that Kamara is probably going to be suspended, given that Mike Thomas has a whole bunch of injury risk that I'm not willing to let go or forget about yet, Seattle with DK and Lockett and whoever they bring in at running back, if it's bringing Penny back, that is a productive offense from a fantasy football perspective. We probably want him in Seattle, guys. I'm telling you that right now. Throwing footballs to DK Metcalf. Oh, he's over there somewhere. Like, imagine how good that meme's going to look, because DK can go get any pass, let alone from a man like Watson that can throw a beautiful ball downfield and throw outside the pocket, with Lockett just streaking across the field from left to right or right to left. This is going to be an unbelievable fantasy football spectacle if he lands in Seattle. It will be in New Orleans if Mike Thomas and Kamara are healthy and both on the field, but that's a big if. So, I mean, that's my breakdown. Seattle's probably smartest from a fantasy perspective, but that's not what Watson cares about. Watson, I predict, is looking at New Orleans and Carolina more than Seattle. It's on the other side of the country. It's close to home, close to where he went to school, far away from the drama that's captivated his life for so long. I believe he feels at home in New Orleans. I believe he feels at home in Carolina. I believe he wants to go to Carolina or New Orleans more than he wants to go to Seattle or any other place. I do predict he ends up in one of those locations, not in Seattle. I'm just trying to break down what I think would be best for him fantasy football wise, or just in general for him, what would be best. So that's kind of my take on that. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense and you guys understand where I'm coming from, breaking it down from all three angles, telling you what I feel. Colts getting Mariota. Let me pull up the news, see if there's anything else breaking as of right now. So again, Trubisky with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me see if there's any other. Bears are giving we're going 3-year, $40.5 million deal Let's see here. I don't see any other news. Steelers have been in the mix on Jimmy G. We knew that, but signing Mitch Trubisky means they're out. The Colts still have interest in Jimmy G. It's Indy for Jimmy G, or he's getting released, in my opinion. So that's an update for you. That's an update for you. Connor signs a 3-year, $21 million deal that could max out to $25 million. Mitchell Trubisky goes to Pittsburgh. Davante Adams is holding out, will not play, refuses to play, franchise tagged, which is $20 million. He's guaranteed all that $20 million as long as he shows up for week 1, so he can have a lengthy holdout. Expect that, just to push the envelope. But I do believe the Packers, their intention is to sign him. So don't get too crazy or upset about that one. And then Watson's meeting with Carolina, New Orleans, and potentially another team or two. I believe that team might be Seattle, but does he even get there? Does he visit with New Orleans or Carolina and say, this is home, I'm done looking, make it happen, Houston, this is where I want to go? There are two very, very healthy offers on the table from New Orleans and Carolina, according to reports. And the reports are his value hasn't changed. It's 3 first-rounders and potentially more player capital. But according to the reports, it sounds like both offers are in that ballpark. So there shouldn't be an issue with either team being able to acquire Deshaun Watson and Watson approving it. So I believe by Wednesday or Thursday, if not very, very soon, much sooner, we will hear that Deshaun Watson is a Carolina Panther or a New Orleans Saint. That's where I'm at right now. And that's all I've got to say about that. I am out of here. I'll be back, of course. We're live at 7 p.m. Eastern. But if any news breaks between now and then we'll have a live stream to get to, right? Chase Edmonds now in Miami, is one report. Somebody saying here in the chat. I'll keep refreshing to see if I see that. As of this moment, I'm not seeing that. Maybe he's visiting. I don't see a report that anything's for sure done. Oh, here it is. Yep, there it is. Chase Edmonds. Nice job. Chase Edmonds, formerly of the Cardinals, 2-year deal worth $12 million. He is in Miami, so that's probably why Connor move happened so quickly, because they knew that this was in motion and they had to get it done. So yeah, I mean, that's not good for Gaskin. I like Gaskin. I like Gaskin a lot, so this is definitely going to put a damper on that. But Edmonds, I don't know how great Edmonds is, though, anymore. I mean, he's got potential, but he always struggles to stay healthy. He's never really put a whole lot together for a long period of time, so I'm not huge on that one. I'm not like all about Edmonds. I think it does put a damper on Gaskin, though. But I do like Gaskin. It also means that Mostert's most likely to come back to San Francisco if Edmonds was signed in Miami. So that's good for Niner fans. Let's see. I think that's it for now. Let me just click the news real quick. Yep, we're good. We're good. We're clear. We're clear of breaking news for the moment. Appreciate all of you. Please pulverize that like button before you leave. Just let's take a moment. Everybody, if you're in the live chat on mobile, just click the X. You can get the chat right back. Click the X, click the like button, click the live chat button, and come back. Smash it for me. And if you're new, this is your new home for breaking news, for fantasy football takes, for live streams all the time. Look, this news broke. I went live. That's how we roll. If something breaks later, I go live. I'm also live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. This is your new home. 84 people are still in here. Only 54 likes, says Terry. What is going on? No one's wiping their feet at the front door, Terry. No one's wiping their feet. Wipe it. I'll be back. Appreciate every single one of you. And we should have more news today. It's gonna get crazy. This is smoke season. I'm excited though. I love it. I love this. This is one of the best off seasons we've had in a very long time. One of the best off seasons we've had in a very, very long time.